Guys, welcome back. I'm gonna have some coffee. It's a coffee kind of day. I have like mental dyslexia where I get stuff really messed up. So today I was running around in 40-mile-per-hour plus winds, and it's really cold because I thought I needed my taxes done before the 15th of this month, and so 15th of next month. I'm special. Yeah. And well, I got that done. So, I had a really strange dream this morning, and I had to talk to Loki to interpret it because I had the dream, and I went and I got my stuff done, and I thought, oh, it's a metaphor for something, but the dream was that I had just gotten this bright red shirt. I don't know why, but this bright red shirt, and it had something emblazoned across it. I don't know if it was the peanuts or what it was, but it had like some kind of characters or figures, something like cheerful emblazoned upon it. And there was this beautiful, bright pool, okay? And there were already, like, 3 other people in it. One guy in, like, swimming trunks and, two women. And I jumped in it willingly, and as I jump into it, it's all bright, sunshiny, everything. As soon as I jump into it, it was like time had elapsed, and it was, like, towards evening, or a storm had rolled in, and there's this shadowy, tall figure watching us. And I wasn't sure if it was Loki or whoever, but they were watching us very calmly. And for some reason, this bar stool comes out of nowhere, and I grabbed it, and the only thing keeping me from drowning, even though I can swim in real life, is holding on to this bar stool, because we've been treading water quite a while. And I said to the woman, well, at least so-and-so's alright, to one of the women. And she said, oh no, she's not alright. And this woman, the other woman I was speaking about that was in the pool with us, she turned into black smoke and disappeared before us. And I realized that we'd all volunteered to jump in this pool and eventually drown. All these people kept coming to this place, and we were volunteers, and we were drowning. And I'm like, that's not cool, because I had bad experiences with pools in the past, and I was like, that is definitely not cool. Why would I have that dream? And I got up, and I went, and I paid my taxes, and I came back, well, faxed my thing for my taxes, and I came back, and, trying to do research on Freyr's Lord of the Little Animals, because I'm like, I need to cheer up. I need to cheer up. And it did about his connection with the dead and burial mounds, which I knew. It did about sacrificing horses to him because he likes horse meat, which I did not know. I'm like, horses, man. I know it's a common thing, but I was still like, horses, man. And, he liked human sacrifice, which I didn't know, and he liked his victims to drown. I was like, seriously? So I was like I had to think about that dream, because I was like, what did that dream mean? Does that mean he's only being nice because he can't wait until I drown? And I was talking to Loki about it, and I'm like, Loki, I am now seriously freaked out. I was living in this place where, people were volunteering to drown, and this guy was just watching us super calmly, watching us drown, and doing nothing. And I said, I thought maybe it was symbolism, but now I'm thinking it's like a message from the gods. And he goes, he called him drowning pool or something. It was really disrespectful. He says, he visited you, huh? He says, yeah, usually death, and we're all death in a sense. We try to be really comforting, but, we all have our own idea of comforting. He says, but do you remember something? And I said, what? He says, it freaked you out because of the pool, but do you remember how you got out? And I was thinking, because when I was a child, my dad used to like to put me on his back and do what he called torpedo dives. And that wasn't what almost drowned me. What almost drowned me is one day he just took me to the public pool and he threw me in, because that's how you teach dogs to swim, so that's how kids learn to swim, right? I started to drown. I started to drown. I was underwater and I didn't know what to do, and I was breathing in water and I couldn't breathe because nobody had ever taken me for swimming lessons ever. No one had ever like taught me how to swim. And I was drowning and I felt someone, and it was not the lifeguard. It was just like I felt a pair of hands pick me up and put me on the steps. I didn't make it back myself. I know that much. And then I was like coughing up water. And I was so tiny, I couldn't tell my parents what happened because when you're that young, you really don't know what death is. But I knew I was scared and I was holding on to the aluminum railing. I still remember this today for dear life and like sitting in the water and I was terrified. But someone had spared me. Someone had, grabbed me from behind and pulled me up out of the water to where I could get, I could be safe. And I was terrified because I'd almost drowned. And my dad would never admit it. My dad would never admit when he did stuff wrong, especially when he almost drowned one of his children. And I've been in pools and people have drowned, and it's like, I know the water's not the safest place in the world to be. So the dream really freaked me out, but look, he looked at me and he says, well, who do you think pulled you out? I said, okay. Because I wasn't sure if he meant Loki or he meant Freyr, and I'm like, okay, somebody just saved me. I'm never going near water ever again. I hate water now, thanks. Because I had a water phobia for years because I almost drowned. I was terrified of water. And then to have a dream about drowning because I had almost drowned, I'm like, yep, water phobia's back. Thank you. I'm never taking a shower again. Thanks. And it was just, I think it was a way for the death aspect of Freyr to introduce himself. And we have to remember, if it's true that our ancestors chose to be the offerings, that it was the ultimate offering, people chose to drown. As strange as that sounds, people chose to be strangled and thrown into bogs. Not all of them chose, I'm sure. I'm sure in some cases it was prisoners of war or prisoners or something. But some people at least would have chosen this death for themselves because remember, based on their afterlife, if you live to an old age, you went to see hell in Hellenheim, and unless you were a fan of hell, nobody wanted to go there. They all wanted to go to like one of the other afterlives, and the way you died dictated the afterlife you went to. Don't want it to be drowning, I can tell you that much. I almost drowned already. I know what that's like. It's no fun. I've almost died in car crashes. Don't want it to be that way. I don't care where I would have went. I don't want it to be that way. So yeah, it was like, I guess he was introducing himself and finding out that he liked his victims drowned or his offerings drowned or whatever. And, I was like, well, I suppose if I had to choose between hanging to death or being flayed alive or being set on fire, drowning sounds like, it sounds like the nice alternative. But I like hell. She'll wait. She'll just, she'll wait until you die of old age. She knows you gotta fall over sometime. That's why I think hell's my favorite. Yeah, hell's my favorite. I can sense back here. Yeah, yeah. That's why hell's my favorite. She got time to wait for you. She don't need to come, creeping up behind you and But that was something else. And no, before some ignorant person says it wasn't a demon, it wasn't bad omen or anything. It was actually, an honor. It was an offering to the gods. And remember, I'm not saying reinstate this again because we obviously shouldn't. You offered your most precious gifts to the gods. Your most precious gifts were humans, usually kings. A lot of times it was the king that had to sacrifice himself willingly, had to die willingly to protect his people. If he would allow his life, the gift of life to be taken from him, then, they believe that the gods would protect the people for another year. And if something happened, in the meantime, then other sacrifices were called for. So it wasn't done to be barbaric or cruel or mean. It was truly thought that it was the most precious thing you could give to the gods. And all gods favor different ways of drowning, of receiving their offerings. Some people like them, some gods prefer them hung, some gods prefer them set on fire, some gods prefer drowning. I think a few of them like burying alive. I mean, there are a lot worse ways to die. At least it wasn't one of the, lovely gods I know from, say South America, and it wasn't, me getting my heart cut out. I had that dream years ago, and thankfully that never came true. So, but I think it's their way to say, we love you, we accept the sacrifice you are making, we accept what you're going through. I think it was a good dream, it was good omen. It's just, they still sometimes that old mindset comes back and they're like, oh, look. But yeah, somebody definitely saved me from drowning as a child, and I was leery of water for years. I really was. I'm very drawn to water, which is a strange thing. Like, I want to go swimming in the ocean, everything, but, I don't have the best of luck in water either, so I kind of have to try to balance that out of, wanting to go in water, but at the same time knowing it's like, it's almost my destiny to drown because, I had that as a little child. And, as you would go through, I finally got swimming lessons. As I would go through swimming lessons, weird stuff was happening in the water. But, weird stuff happens in the water on a daily basis. It's a strange element to be in. So, that just kind of made me think. And I think it was a good omen. I mean, you weren't sacrificed to a god because you were the worst they had to give. You were sacrificed to a god because you were the best they had to give. And we were all there willingly. We were all there like, okay, we'll do this thing. And I guess it had seemed like the time of sacrifice was kind of over, but it was like, no, there were like 3 of us left. Sooner or later it was going to be my time, but for some reason I was thrown a bar stool and spared. The irony, considering I can no longer drink. So, I'm like, oh man. So, if you guys like what you see, like, comment, subscribe. I'm still planning on trying to do that goofier video, but I wanted to share that dream with you because I'm like, wow, that was really... I had said to Freyr, is there going to be like some kind of sign in the snow, because we were supposed to wake up to snow, and I woke up to that dream instead. So that was unusual, but our gods are not always a cuddly basket of kittens. Sometimes, you talk to the underworld aspect, and sometimes the symbolism they use is not a symbolism, we'd be comfortable with, but it was actually, like, even though I was there to be a sacrifice, I was there willingly. And I'd still be taken care of. He was standing there watching the whole thing rather calmly. I mean, he is deaf, so he was standing there watching the whole thing rather calmly. And it is what it is. He's also a war god, so, at least it was a mild dream. It could have been a lot of things, so I'm thankful. I am. It kind of freaked me out a little bit, but then once I sat down and thought about rationally, talked to Loki. Loki's like, that was just him saying hello. That's the personality of that path, the path that had the drowned people offered. I've never heard of it before. I've only had one source, but that was the source I came up with, that Freyr liked people to be offered to him. It was a known thing, and he liked the people offered to him to be drowned. I don't know. I'm almost afraid to ask Loki if he ever had human sacrifices, because he'd be like, you want to find out? So, they probably died in the stupidest way possible, too. Okay, guys. But if you like what you see, like, comment, subscribe. And I just wanted to share that with you because it was really, really strange. And it didn't feel appropriate to dress up as I'm going to dress up later and do a random video and do something about drowning. It did not feel appropriate. Okay, so I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.